Hey guys, it's Mike from Rollin Into Retirement, the channel where a couple of retirees take on RV tips, campground reviews, food and wine, photography, and much more. Today, we're going to show you a video of our trip south from Jackson, New Jersey to our home base in Vero Beach, Florida. Stay tuned. Today we decided that it would be a good idea, some people have asked us for this, to show you our trip south. And the way we're going to do that is by showing you some screenshots first of our trip down south in RV Trip Wizard. We'll have a link to RV Trip Wizard if you like it in the description below. And each one, we're going to show you some small tidbits of each campground that we stayed at. And if we can, we'll give you some thoughts with it. Now, of course, we want to thank you for watching the video and supporting the channel. And if you like what you see, hit that like button below. And of course, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and then also the little alarm bell so you'll know when we put up more videos. Okay, here we go. So after selling our home of 30 plus years, we needed a spot to leave our 38-foot motorhome, Georgetown XL 369, and get it prepared for the trip south. So we chose Butterfly Camping Resort in Jackson, New Jersey. You can actually see it there, bobbing up and down. After leaving Jackson, we then moved on to Gettysburg Battlefield KOA. We then moved to Endless Caverns in Shenandoah Valley. Then we went to Wytheville KOA. Then the Barnyard RV Park in Lexington, South Carolina. We moved on to Coastal Georgia RV Resort in Brunswick, Georgia. Then to St. Augustine Beach in the Ocean Grove RV Resort. Then we went to the Rainbow RV Resort in Frostproof, Florida, and then to our final destination, Sunshine Travel RV Resort. So let's move on, and we can show you first Butterfly Camping Resort. So Butterfly Camping Resort is located right next to the Butterfly Bogs Wildlife Management Area. Some of the amenities that they have here at Butterfly are, of course, the pool. Pretty large pool. We didn't get a chance to get into it, but it was very clean looking. Also a nice playground, and of course cabins. They had a good selection of cabins. Later on here we'll show you some of the prices for that as well. You're pretty close to the Six Flags Great Adventure theme park. You can get to the Jackson Outlet Mall, as well as you're not terribly far from the beaches, which is maybe 30 to 40 minutes east of the campground. Actually, coming up to where we stayed, that's our motorhome on the left. The campsite rates are up in front of you on the screen, but keep in mind any of these prices can change. Here we are coming back up towards the cabins again, and the cabin rates are popping up on the screen for you to see as well. We did not get a chance to tour them inside, but when we were there, pretty much everyone was full. So on Tuesday mornings, on the 8th of September, we left Butterfly Camping Resort and we moved to Gettysburg, about 200 miles away. So Gettysburg Battlefield KOA is located about 5 miles from downtown Gettysburg. The KOA here has 50 amp service, cable TV. They have a camping kitchen. They have a pavilion. They hold up to an 85-foot max length. As we're coming down, of course, they have the pool on the right you see here. and you can see some cabins coming up on the left. There's also a playground for the kiddies. You see that coming up. They have a lot of these cabins are speckled throughout the campground as well. Here we're coming up on a few more. They do have mini golf. They have propane, and of course, as most campgrounds do, they've got your firewood. This is a KOA holiday, so they have sites with a patio, as well as I said, the cabins with full baths, and they have premium tent sites, and they have facilities for group meetings. Well, that's our little trip around the Gettysburg Battlefield KOA. We will have links to what we've discussed in the description below. We did go out and visit Gettysburg, so you'll see a little link to that up above. So after spending the 2 nights in the Gettysburg Battlefield KOA, we moved southwest to the Shenandoah Valley and the Endless Caverns Resort in New Market, Virginia. So after about just under a 3-hour drive that we took from the Gettysburg KOA in Gettysburg, PA, we arrived here at Endless Caverns Resort. It's a combination of campgrounds and the Caverns. Now, we've actually never visited the Caverns itself, even though we did stay here in the RV last year on our way down to Florida. We have gone to the Luray Caverns, but this one we never got to. So depending on which direction you're coming from on Interstate 81, either north or south, you'll exit 257 or 269, but you're exiting onto Route 11. And at that point, you're about 4 to 8 miles from the Endless Caverns entrance. When you come into the entrance, it's about a 1.5 mile trip, and it takes you right up here into the check-in area where they will greet you. During the pandemic, we didn't go inside. We actually walked up to the window. You're then taken to your site. Many campgrounds. Check that arch out on the left. When you leave, you generally go through that arch. We didn't. We were concerned about the height, and another camper told us as well that it might be just a little bit too low. So you actually be careful if you're leaving with a large RV. You can go around that arch and go through the parking lot to leave. Now, all their sites are advertised as full service, water, electric, up to 50 amp, and sewer, and they do advertise that they're big rig friendly. They do accommodate up to 148 sites, and beside the caves themselves, you have a zero entry swimming pool, a playground. There are a number of nature trails, and also hiking and biking. You certainly can bike around this campground. It's hilly in some spots. They do have a recreation hall. They have a catch and release pond, game room. They do have bathhouses. We did not check the bathhouses out. Wi-Fi hotspots. Well, we'll call it spotty Wi-Fi hotspots. I can't tell you it was the best. And of course they have laundry, and they do have a dump station if you need that. We stayed here 3 nights. We really didn't need the 3rd night, but I was lucky enough to have my brother and my sister-in-law pick a day to come visit us from Alexandria, Virginia. Not a terribly far ride for them. So they came out. So we added an extra day. We wanted 1 day of just relaxation, and then we also took 1 day to go to Skyline Drive. We've been up there before. It's a beautiful trip north to south or south to north, whichever direction you choose to go. When we came a couple of years back, we took the route that started out from Front Royal. So as we follow our golf cart guide, let's speed up the video just a bit as he takes us to our site just up here on the left. As he brings us in, it's just a really nice pull through. It is full hookups, as we said. Every site here they advertise has full hookups. We did utilize the fire pit this weekend. That weekend we were here, and it is level. It doesn't look as level staring at it this way, but it was pretty level. So before we left, we did take a day trip to Skyline Drive. We did the Thornton Gap to Swift Run Gap stretch. We entered at Thornton Gap, and at that point we took a ride. We saw Stony Man Mountain, and we got to the Skyline Resort, and we took a little look at the Stony Man Trail. After that, we did continue driving down, and we rode the Skyline Drive south till we got to the Swift Run Gap exit. So after our 3 nights in Endless Caverns Resort in the Shenandoah Valley, we made the trip, just under 200-mile trip south to the Wytheville KOA. We'd never stayed at the Wytheville KOA, but it's right outside the Flying J in Wytheville that we had stopped before. Just a real simple spot to stop, stay overnight. So the Wytheville KOA is located right off the interstate, and it's a real easy on and easy off. And right outside the KOA is the Flying J gas station, so it makes life really easy for that. Now, the first thing that you saw was the KOA office, and from there we went to the pool area. The pool area is just like a giant playground with super slides, and the park itself has 50 amp max service. It's got cable TV, and you can get your propane and the different things that you would normally get at a campground of this type. There's that 50-foot water slide again that you're looking at, a big deal. But they also have a spot for bowling, a real entertainment type center. It wasn't open at the time we were there. I don't know what the COVID rules are at this point. You can stay in the teepee. Really cool spot there. We saw there's a few of those. So as I said, the spots are terrific pull-throughs, and for us, for an overnight, it was just a real easy in and easy out. So Monday morning, we left Wytheville KOA in Wytheville, Virginia, for one of the longer stretches of our trip, a 230-plus mile trip south to Lexington, South Carolina, and the Barnyard RV Park. Another relatively easy exit off an interstate, and we had stayed there in the past. So unfortunately, we got there late in the evening and just a little bit too tired to take a walk around of this park. But it is right off of the interstate, either I-20 or I-26. Here's a picture of that I did take with our motorhome and Jeep in that spot. The amenities are what you see. They've got water and sewer, and they have electric, of course. Really easy to get in and get out, and it's a relatively easy spot to find, and it's right off of the highway behind a flea market. So after the overnight at the Barnyard RV Park in Lexington, South Carolina, we took another one of our longer trips, I think just the last of our longer stretches, to Brunswick, Georgia, and the Coastal Georgia RV Resort. So Coastal Georgia RV Resort is located in Brunswick, Georgia, just a little over an hour from Jacksonville. This resort has all paved roads. It's, as you can see in the picture there, they have 105 sites. They advertise all being 35 feet wide and lengths from 60 to 70 feet. As you can see in the picture here, just plenty of space, plenty of room to maneuver, and again, not far off the interstate. They have conference room, bathhouses, laundromats. They also have a walk around the lake where they also have fishing available. So when we arrived and put the slides out, Betty Ann told me that she saw a wire hanging up in the front where the big slide goes out. I came in and took a look at it. And, obviously, it was loose. I knew right away it was the cable that one of the cables that helps bring that super slide in and out. Went outside, and sure enough, it was loose. I knew it had to have been disconnected or came apart. Whether it broke or not, I didn't know. So I was lucky enough to get in touch with someone that came actually the next day. He had about 30 years in the business, so he said, but he took off the paneling on the top, and it was just disconnected. And as you can see, that's right where it disconnected. So he ended up reattaching it, and it really just wasn't something that I would have been able to do. So we were able to at least salvage one full day, and some of the area attractions near Brunswick is Jekyll Island, Cumberland Island, and St. Simon's Island. We chose to go out to St. Simon's Island. Yeah, it's an island about 18 square miles with, of course, hotels, B&Bs, golf. They have condos. You can buy or rent vacation homes, ride your bike. We were there on a really, really windy day, as you can see there, and we drove around and tried to explore as much of the perimeter of the island as we could. So that was our ride around and stay at the Coastal Georgia RV Resort. It's really only about a 5-hour ride from our home base in Port St. Lucie, Florida. So you could certainly make a long, let's say, 3 or 4 day trip. Take a ride up to Coastal Georgia RV Resort and enjoy it. So after leaving Coastal Georgia RV Resort in Brunswick, Georgia, we took about a 2-hour ride south to St. Augustine, actually St. Augustine Beach and the Ocean Grove RV Resort. So we arrived after a couple hours drive at the Ocean Grove RV Resort. This resort has been family owned for over 40 years. They advertise on their website that they're working on their 3rd generation of family employees. Now, they're on actually the western side of A1A, not directly on the beach. We stayed a couple of years back on our trip down at Bryn Mawr, not far from there, and they were actually on the beach where you could park your RV and just walk through the gates and get onto the beach. So the resort does offer 30 to 50 amp electrical and full service. They do have shaded sites. They have pull-through. We had a pull-through site. They have patios. You'll see pavers. You can see to the left. Our site was a pull-through with pavers. You're only located about 7 miles south of the St. Augustine Historic District. We did go right away. They were predicting rain, which it did do the next day. So we got there early enough. We jumped in the car, beautiful sunny day, and we headed down to the Historic District, one of our favorite spots. Here we are at the Castillo de San Marcos National Monument, and over there you're overlooking the bridge that takes you A1A and into St. Augustine. After finishing our walk around, we headed across the street to the St. Augustine Shopping District, the Old Town. They have a pretty cool poolside bar called Ebb Tide. We actually got some light dinner from there. I took it out to go. I did notice some golf carts leaving from there, so I believe they deliver. So you can call from your RV and have Ebb Tide deliver you some food. As we head towards the rear of the resort, you can see here's a couple of more pull-throughs with the pavers and the patio. And as we head back, we're heading now towards the rear of the campground, which is on water that feeds out to the Matanzas River. So here's a few spots that are actually located right near that water view. Not sure what it would be like in the hot weather with bugs, but really pretty. Lots of park models here. I'll post the rates up above, as well as a link to the Ocean Grove Resort below. But they have rates as low as $60 a night for a tent site to $85 a night for RV sites. Well, here we are coming up to our motorhome on the left in its pull-through spot. I will say we enjoyed Ocean Grove RV Resort, and we'll come back again to this resort or even Bryn Mawr across the way. We like St. Augustine, and it's really only a few hours trip from our home base. So from Ocean Grove RV Resort in St. Augustine, we made the trip southwest to Frostproof, Florida, and the Rainbow RV Resort, which is right near Lake Wales, not far from Route 60. Here we are at Rainbow RV Resort, and that is a Sun RV Resort. Many of you who follow us know that we sold our home in August and went temporarily full-time while we looked for a suitable home base in Florida, which is where we wanted to be. So we chose Rainbow RV Resort because it was right near this community called Lake Ashton that we wanted to look at. As we're entering Rainbow RV Resort, coming right up onto the clubhouse, we didn't really even have to go in. They had our packet sitting out for us. It had our spot number and directions to get to it, and that was that. So we're heading out now towards a far end of the park. All along the perimeter are many park models that are either for rent or you can own the park model and just pay them rent to stay on it. Most of the transient sites that we saw were towards the center of the park. They had the full 50 amp service, water, sewer, electric. Ours was a giant 45-foot pull-through. Many of them were. No problem opening up your slide-outs, and ours had a concrete patio. Well, admittedly, this spot, there's not a lot to do. If you're a golfer, there's a lot to do for sure. But you're about an hour from Walt Disney World. You're not far from Legoland and also Bach Tower and Gardens. So beside their clubhouse, they have pickleball courts, shuffleboard courts. Here, of course, is their mail area. If you're a seasonal and you need a mailbox, they have that. Here we are coming up on the pool. A nice-looking pool behind the office complex. And they have craft room, and as you walk by, here's the community center. And we're coming up on the shuffleboard courts, quite a few. So we basically stayed here for the 3 nights so we could get a trip over to take a look at some homes in Lake Ashton. As I said, we looked at new ones there a couple of years back, and we just thought we owed it to ourselves to just be sure that that area would not be for us. And after going around it once, we decided it was not for us. And as we'll talk about in future videos, we have settled in the Tradition area of Florida, right near Port St. Lucie. We'll tell you about all that in upcoming videos, so stay tuned for that. But here we are coming back to the motorhome. There it is on the right. And I would give this a big thumbs up, or however you'd want to rate it. If you needed to stay in this area, or if you love golf and you want a place to stay for the winter, this would be the place. We really enjoyed it. Once we left Rainbow RV Resort in Frostproof, Florida, it was only an hour and a half east to Vero Beach, right off of 95, and the Sunshine Travel RV Resort. That's generally our home away from home. And right up above, we'll have a link to a walk around that we did at that resort. Well, there you have it. That's our trip south in our Georgetown 369XL from Jackson, New Jersey to Vero Beach, Florida. What we did was we actually moved from Vero Beach because we bought a house. We bought a home base in Port St. Lucie, and we're going to cover that in future videos. That way we have a little spot that we can leave from and come home to and take some more trips in the area all year round. So thanks again for watching, and as Betty Ann and I always like to say, enjoy the ride.